Good day and hello everyone. I am Sularis Charan and our topic is about Chapter 1 entitled Basic Concept on Special and Inclusive Education. But before we proceed to our topic, let me introduce to you my groupmates, which is Morales Marichu, Bunyon Anjanette, Garcia Janelle, and also Abelia Bendy. Our learning objective is that to acquaint terminologies such as disabilities and inclusive education that will lay the foundation of a more inclusive classroom fitted to the learners with disabilities, giftedness, and also talents. To make us familiar with inclusive education, here's some definition. Inclusive education is putting about the right to education into action, including all learners, respecting their diverse needs, abilities, and characteristics, and also eliminating all form of discrimination in the learning environment, said this by UNESCO 2009. Also, inclusive education, it is the process of strengthening the capacity of the education system to reach out to all learners. UNESCO 2017. Therefore, inclusion is the process that helps overcome barriers, limiting the presence, participation, and achievement of learners, according to UNESCO 2017 P13. Did you know that inclusive education is also highlighted in the recent DepEd order? Yes, it is. DepEd Order 21 Series of 2019, also known as the Policy Guidelines on K-12 Basic Education Program. This DepEd Order number 21 Series 2019, titled Policy Guidelines on the K-12 Basic Education Program, is appropriate program and services are provided to learners with disabilities. What is DepEd Order for Inclusive Education? RA 11650 provides that all schools, whether public or private, shall ensure equitable access to quality education for every learners with disability. The policy of inclusion is hereby instituted in all early and basic education schools, both public and private. What is DepEd Order for Inclusive Education? RA 11650 provide that all schools, whether public or private, shall ensure equitable access to quality education for every learner with disability. The policy of inclusion is hereby instituted in all early basic education, school, both public and private. The goal of an inclusive education system is to provide all students with the most appropriate learning environments and opportunities for them to best achieve their potential. All children can learn and reach their full potential given opportunity, effective teaching, and appropriate resources. Inclusive education seeks to benefit for all students' understanding by bringing together all students, create a culture of acceptance and regardless of ability in one learning environment. By doing so, inclusive education helps to break down the barriers that often exist between students with and without disabilities. Now, let's proceed to special education. Special education, defined as a classes of instruction, is designed for students with disabilities, giftedness, and talents. Special education needs, or SEN, is a term used in some countries to refer to children with impairments that are seen as requiring additional support. UNESCO 2017 P7. Special education is the practice of educating students in a way that accommodates their individual differences, disability, and special needs. This involves the individually planned and systematically monitored arrangement of teaching procedure, adapted equipment and materials, and accessible settings. Special education example. The spectrum of services that fall under the arc of special education in which are specified through IDEA include specific learning disability, speech and language impairment, and also other health impairment. Now, let's talk about special education versus inclusive education. Special education is specially designed instruction to meet the unique needs of a child with disability. But on the other side, inclusive education puts all students in the same classroom to learn among their peers. The main difference between special education and inclusive education is that special education is a separate system of education that caters to the needs of children with disabilities outside the mainstream education, while inclusive education occurs within a setting where students with disability learn alongside peers without disabilities. In special education, the service and the support necessary for one student can vary from the requirement of another student. Special education has an individual-based approach and focuses on giving students the resources they need to make progress in education. The situation within the inclusive education is quite different, as extra support required will be given to facilitate the student to adopt the regular curriculum. In this inclusive education, the situation changes further. The inclusive classroom generally accepts the different learning patterns of the student and adapt itself to cater to the unique and individual need of each student.